It's absolutely awesome to see so many people joining the session. Welcome to the Let's Talk Talent webinar around architecting teams that exceed expectations. It is 9:15, so thank you very much to everybody who has joined on time. It's really awesome to see you there. I just see the numbers keep skyrocketing and increasing every moment. But I'm super excited to share with you all my experience. So for those of you who haven't met me, my name is Debbie Venables. I'm a senior consultant at Let's Talk Talent, and we're a specialist agency or consulting house that really focuses on talent management, performance, and anything organizational development related. And what we like to bring to the party is something different. We like challenging our clients just to step forward and step out of the beige and into the bold so that we can really create people experiences which get, keep, and grow brilliant talent. So it's really awesome to have you with us. And today we're talking about a topic that is really close to my heart. I just love talking about high performance. I love talking about teams. And I bring along with me some really awesome experience from leading my own teams of anything from 1 or 2 people up to leading a team of 50 plus people, both locally and global teams as well. So please use the chat if you've got questions. This is really an interactive session, not just about me presenting, but we really want to add value. So please sit back, relax, but keep the keyboard close by is the message I want to share with you all. So with that, let's get going. So yes, I've told you a little bit about me, but really if you want to know more, please join us on LinkedIn. Always love connecting with new people on LinkedIn as well. What are we going to cover today? I know you all signed up to get the big secrets around architecting teams that exceed expectations, but it really is about what makes that team high performing, really truly high performing. How do we stop what gets in the way? What do we do to architect those teams to really get those results? What does it entail? Where do we start? How do we focus? And how do you measure and sustain team performance? And I think those are the key things that over the last 30 years of my career have really resonated with every single team that I've worked with, not only as a leader, but also supporting leaders from executive level down to first line managers who've just taken on those leadership roles for the first time. And that's one of the things I love about what we do at Let's Talk Talent is that we work across that broad spectrum still. So we know we've got those established models we all know and love. And yes, there's huge amounts of value in both the Lencioni and the Tuckman model. It is really a key tool that we use, but we use it with a little bit of sass and a little bit more creativity. So we'll share a little bit about that going forward. But I want to start off the session by asking you, if you think about the Tuckman model, about forming, storming, norming, and performing, where do you find your team at this moment? So let's give it a couple of moments. If you can just tickle those keys on your keyboard and click on a vote, that would be absolutely great. Let's see where we are. Ooh, forming, still not getting any votes on that one. Oh, most people are in the norming stage. Lovely. Finding your rhythm. Excellent. Just give it another moment. Finding our rhythm, norming, is definitely where we are starting to see that with the leader in the votes at this point in time. And it's not an unfamiliar place for us. It is a place where you need to start thinking creatively because it is about how do we then move from that norming stage into the performing stage. And it is hugely important to make sure that we don't become complacent when we start getting into that norming stage, because it really does become comfortable. We found our grooves, etc. But how can we tap into that little bit extra? So I'm glad you're with us today because that's something we're going to be talking about a little bit later on. Thank you, Lydia, for putting up the polls for us. But let's keep the chats going. Here's the question. Can we deliberately architect high-performing teams? I'd love for you to pop in the chat if you think that this is possible. Is it a yes? Is it a no? Can we really architect high-performing teams? Ellen, I see your comment there about you've got an established team who just can't get out of storming. Some great things you can do. One of the things that we've recently done with a lovely client is we've done a 6-word strategy where we got everybody involved in working with us on that one. And it really helped move them forward out of storming. But also just knowing a team charter. or building up their strengths. My team's working well, but there are some changes as somebody is retiring. Yes, that moves us between the different stages of team development all the time, 100%. Harvey, nice to see you online. Yes, you can deliberately architect high-performing teams with different points. Yes, Alex, thank you. Every organization has the potential to grow and develop. Spot on. At Let's Talk Talent, we believe that every person has potential, but the potential to do what? And those are the important conversations we need to be having when we come to looking at how we architect high-performing teams. And yes, you can deliberately architect high-performing teams. And I'm looking forward to sharing some thoughts with you on that one. So keep the comments going. As you can see, we are there. It is going to be good to engage. So what impact do high-performance teams have on your business? So we all know the standard, yes, they'll perform a little bit better and we'll see it on the bottom line. But there's a whole lot of opportunity costs involved with having high-performing teams as well. We know that if people are working in high-performing teams, 37% of them will stay with you because of the great team. That reduces your recruitment costs. It increases your engagement. It has so many huge benefits in terms of making your business more effective, more efficient. We know that 20% more productivity really goes straight to the bottom line. But it goes further than that because people start tapping into those innovative ways of thinking, of being, of engaging with one another. And it really is something that can catapult that 20%, not just because they're working harder, but because they're starting to think a little bit smarter as well. We know that we can end up with a 59% less employee turnover. As long as that 59% less turnover is in the right spaces, and that's where we need to be deliberate about what we are doing. It is important for us to sit back and think about where to start. How do we get to that point where we have those high-performing teams that we've put together and we've crafted versus just waiting for things to really happen to us? We work with multiple companies. We've got a huge client base and a really wonderful client base spanning so many industries, so many sizes, different stages of development, etc. But what we're consistently seeing across all of our clients, and also the engagement we have with new clients coming through and meeting up with us, is that the lack of psychological safety is really becoming one of the key elements of why teams are not necessarily achieving those key high performance targets. That element around clarity and of purpose and priorities. Communication, I cannot tell you how often that comes up in every single leadership development program we do, every culture audit we do, every time we step forward and when we present some of our lovely boot camps, etc. The feedback we're getting is around communication. With the fast pace of the world, AI, all of those good things coming through the processes as well, we're seeing that roles and decision-making is becoming a little bit more grey. There are fuzzy edges around the sides. And how do we get people to really start understanding what decisions they can make, what they can't make, how they should use AI, for example, in a responsible way, etc. But we are seeing that the pace of change, the pace of organizational evolution and the world of work is creating capacity challenges as well as burnout. So how do we build those teams to make sure that we can prevent proactively some of these challenges that we are seeing with our clients? So I'd like to go back to you and find out what are the things that are the biggest barriers for your team at the moment. Is it psychological safety? Is it purpose, communication, ambiguity, or clarity? Burnout and capacity? Wow. Burnout and capacity. Yes. Excellent. We'll give it a couple more minutes, seconds or so, a few more moments, just to get some more votes in. Burnout and capacity. 100%. We're seeing a lot of that with our clients. We really are. And it is something that we've done with a big job architecture projects that we've done. We've seen it with some of the competency work we're doing is really helping people to understand how they can manage the burnout and building additional capacity and working smarter. Excellent. Thank you very much for that, for those inputs. It really is interesting to see that your experiences are very similar to the experiences that we are seeing out there. We do have answers across all of them. Role and decision ambiguity and burnout being our high, and unclear purpose and priorities being our highest voted elements there. So thank you. So how do we start with building teams that consistently exceed expectations? When we approach this, we always look at it from three different lenses. The first one that we look at is at the individual stage. How are each of those individuals showing up? How are those leaders engaging? Because if you look at burnout, you look at communication, you look at priorities and all of that, it has to connect with people at an individual level. If we don't connect with those individuals and build that self-awareness, that self-reliance, and all of those sorts of key transferable skills that we're seeing as important for the world of work in 2030 and beyond, we need to really connect at that individual and leadership level. We also need to look at the team, not only just looking at what each individual is good at, etc. And we really try and focus on those strengths, etc. But what is it that the team needs to achieve? How does that need to be created or architected to make sure that those teams feel safe, they feel connected, they are able to turn groups of people into a force to be reckoned with, but with purpose, where each individual can be felt, can be seen, can be feel as if they can be heard, etc. So they not only have a place at the table, but they've actually got a voice, and the voice is heard. And it is important to understand how we pull those teams together. But at the end of the day, it's also about the organization, how you build your strategies, how you cascade your strategies, how you then link everything together, how you enable that culture for people to be able to perform. Because often what we're finding is that individuals really want to, teams really want to, but there are things that are stopping them from either being innovative or from achieving their potential. What are those things that are happening across teams in your organization that could potentially be holding you back? We're working with some amazing clients at the moment. One of my clients has really focused on this and how to build a full coaching culture so that we can start breaking down those silos and we can start communicating across different areas of the business and teams to share those expertise, because some are a little bit more progressive in their approaches than others. But how do we cross-pollinate? How do we share that corporate knowledge? How do we then tap into that potential innovation and that potential profit that comes out at the end of the day from working smarter as well? Really key. Our lens is always on the three. So whatever we're doing, whenever we're engaging with anybody, we are thinking about these across every step of the way, in the way that we design the structures of the business to make sure that we deliver on the strategy of the business down to the individual components and what everybody's going to experience. So really key is to always think about things from these three perspectives. What is our blueprint? Our blueprint for high-performing teams is really about lead. It really is. It's about tapping in. One of the most underdeveloped leadership skills that we're seeing at the moment, and remember, we've moved from just being a qualifications-based economy, etc., where people move just because they've got specific qualifications and those are creating the career paths. We're now moving into a place where people are tapping into the skills of the future. And I would personally put listening as probably one of those top transferable skills that will set leaders up for success, not only today, but also in the future. And that's what we need to be doing. We need to be future focused. Stephen Covey always says, listen to understand versus listening to respond. And to me, that is really one of those absolutely key principles, is to understand what is going on in individuals. I've probably been one of the most unpopular talent managers and leaders in organizations, because in career management committees, we've sat there going, oh, we're going to develop this individual into that position. I'm going, that's nice, but does that person want that role? Does the person want to do that? It doesn't matter. Of course it matters. It's hugely important, because if we don't tap into what the strengths of the individuals are and where they're wanting to go in their careers, in their roles, we're not going to tap into that potential for them to become highly performing and to contribute to the team to be highly performing. If we don't listen, we can't build trust. We can't build psychological safety. So if there's one skill that you all invest in, it's about listening. I love that adage that we've got 2 ears, 1 mouth, and let's use them in the correct ratios. Not always easy, but it's how we teach our leaders to be emotionally intelligent and emotionally responsive enough to know when to keep quiet and to hold that silence. The next part of leading is really about enabling. How do we enable? We enable by setting clear roles, making sure that there's shared purpose. And that often is the link with moving people from one level, specifically storming, for example, into the norming. How do we set those clear goals? We've got an absolutely lovely tool. I know it says on our website, and I know it says it's about cascading HR strategy, but you can use it in absolutely any of your business areas. It's how you take the organizational strategy, and our triangle helps you cascade it so that when you're setting those goals at an individual level, you're tapping into the right things that are going to link back to achieving that organizational strategy. We've built that into the process so that we're always looking at the 3 levels as well. But by going through that process and having the conversations, keyword conversations, with our team members around what their goals are and how they tie back to the bigger picture, we create that shared purpose. And beautiful tools, I spoke a little bit about it earlier. We've put 6-word strategies in place for teams that bring those goals into a more practical and inclusive approach. Really cool tools to use to bring everybody onto the same page. We also use things like Lego Serious Play just to help people physically feel, see, and express themselves in different ways, to tap into understanding each other's roles and how they feed each other in the processes, because that helps enable people. But it starts the process to activating that feedback culture. And you'll notice that we use this word really often. It's not about rolling out new initiatives, it's about activating them. I think typically we have these beautiful rollout plans when we have projects, etc. But what we forget about is that we've got to connect the hearts and the minds, well, the other way around, hearts and the minds of the individuals so that they will change. They will bring about their behavioral change that will make that difference. So we really, really, really want to activate that culture where we can have healthy conflict. We can challenge each other because that's where the innovation comes from. But in that process, we start developing and demonstrating the resilience, how we adapt, how we grow, etc. So it is really key. So the recipe we use when it comes to building high-performing teams and architecting high-performance teams is really around lead, listening, enabling, activating, and then measuring and demonstrating, and then linking in the S, if you want to put the S on the end, which is about the sustainability, which is about recognition and reward. It's about building that. So what do we see when teams shift? We see beautiful. We see growth. We see those statistics that we shared at the beginning come to life. Those become the realities of the business. We see improvement. We see innovation. We see retention. And we've had some clients who have moved the needle in terms of the internal mobility of their staff by up to 30, 40%, just because they've changed the focus and they've started listening and leading their organization. Really powerful results. Would love to chat to you about them. So where we start, I think the first step is to understand, and we're going to pop it in the chat. We've got a beautiful tool also available on our website that will help you find the right diagnostic tools. Is it the strengths that you need to know? What are the other things that you can tap into to start understanding where your team is at and how you can support them? Make sure that your leaders are aligned. Get them on the same page. Make sure that they understand where we're going, that we've got the same message, we're using the same language. Identify your biggest blockers. So we've got Lencioni, we've got those things, but really think about what those blockers are. Don't shy away from them, name them, give them personality, give them a face so that you can own it. We know from a neuroscience perspective that if we've named it and we face it, we then can do something about it, because collectively we've named the elephant in the room. And the best way to deal with that is one step at a time. Design your healthy blueprint. Know where the strengths are, know where the gaps are in terms of understanding, and tap into how you can elevate and fortify the strengths in the team to overcome the areas where we have lesser strengths. The key there is about embedding and measuring. Build that accountability into your processes everywhere we go. Measure the impact is absolutely critical. Here's the tools. If we start off by understanding what the strengths are, we can always, or where the team is at. And please, we've put the link in there so you can download it, but we will send it out or is at the bottom of the presentation as well for you to download. Once you know what you're measuring to start with, you can then come back at the end of implementing an initiative, etc., and you can start measuring the movements. You can start seeing the transformation in your businesses, etc. But the key is not just to speak HREs, the normal HR language. Let's tap into the language of the business. They're not going to understand those beautiful metrics that we as HR professionals potentially understand. We need to tap into the things that make a difference to them. Listen, once again, to what are the important drivers for the business. You know them. You're there. You're part of it. Make sure you always look at those 3 levels in terms of how you assess where everybody's at in terms of those 3 different levels. Speak your business language is absolutely critical. Cool. These are the 3 questions that we always ask. It's about tapping in and understanding where everybody is at all times. And if you just quickly run through those questions and you haven't got an answer to them, please just give us a shout. We'd love to have a chat. We'll put our contact cards or make our contact card available to you. We'd love to chat to you about the things that you can't answer there or the things that you're stuck on, because that's where the power of collaboration comes from with trusted partners, etc. as well. Focusing on those results is absolutely key, though. My mouse is not working. So as we come to the end, we've got 5 more minutes left together. I just thought I'd summarize a couple of those key takeaways. And please, this comes from collectively, we have got much more experience across the whole team at LTT. And we really do want to make sure that you walk away with those key nuggets today. And please, when I put this together, it was about the learnings that we've taken from all of our experiences in the business and the 11 years that LTT have been out there. High performance is not something that happens by accident. It is something that we need to make sure that we are actually focusing on, that we are architecting, we are being deliberate about. We need to make sure that we are tapping into those accelerators that will help us understand the trajectory forward. Make sure that you are clear about that evidence for investing in your team. There is so much that we can tap into, naturally occurring evidence in your business where you can see the impact of making sure that your teams are high performing and that your investment in development is working. You cannot do this if you haven't got that buy-in. There was step 2, I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was about get that buy-in. Make sure that we're all on the same page. If you don't have your leaders behind you, nothing else will work. You can't just build it from the bottom up. We have to build things from the top down as well. Own your challenges, though. Name them. If you can't admit that you've got it, if you can't create that awareness around the challenges, you can't be aware of the things that could potentially come up as we're moving forward. Those 3 lenses for me are the absolute critical. And we've seen it in every single one of the clients that we work with. Looking at the team, looking at the individual, looking at the team, the organizational are absolutely the most important things. Seeing how they all tie together, how they all mix together. And sometimes making some really tough decisions around that. Get your business to tell you what success would look like. Don't superimpose the HRE into the processes. Tap into what will really make a difference and move the dial. One of our clients was presenting something and they were talking about making the boat go faster, that lovely book. It is about what is going to make the boat go faster. What would the business see as the boat going faster? Tapping into what matters to the business. Psychological safety is the foundation of trust. How can we tap into that to build a trust, which will then help us lead, listen, enable, etc., activate, and then demonstrate? How can we tap into those to make sure that we are getting the performance and the high performance that we deserve, that we've architected, that we've tapped into? I hope you've enjoyed the last 45 minutes with me. It's been absolutely great being able to present. We have got 2 new things that we've just launched. It's a WhatsApp hub and a WhatsApp group. So our channel, we share lots of new things that we're doing, webinars coming up. And I do need to give you a little sneak peek into something really exciting. Learning at Work Week is coming up in May, and we've got an absolutely awesome lineup of content and some new programs that we're going to be launching as well during Learning at Work Week. So please tap into either our channel or join our Let's Talk People group on WhatsApp so that you can be the first to get the information and you won't miss out. And as you can see, we have put the link at the bottom for how to connect to the complete guide for HR leaders there, the complete guide of tools. Thank you, Helen, for the comment about some interesting points made. It was good to know that we've landed some awesome nuggets for you as well. But please, if there is anything you'd like to chat or connect with us about, we are going to put up in a second the link to register for our next webinar, which is Jo, our founder and MD, who's going to share some really exciting thoughts around the strategy and with her panel about the future of learning. Sarah Jane will have a look into why you can't click on those links, but please reach out to us, send us an email, and we'll gladly forward those links through to you as well with greatest pleasure. Thank you, Jo. Absolutely awesome to have you all with us. And with that, it is 1:45, and we want to respect your time. It was absolutely lovely having you with us, and we look forward to speaking to you soon. Ralph has told us that we will also circulate all the links. Thank you very much, everybody. Have an absolutely awesome Thursday. Enjoy the beautiful sunny weather if you're in the UK, but be safe and be well wherever you are.